happy 4th of July, y'all. Or as a happy 4th of July as it gets. Ooh, not too proud to be an American these days. Today, I am going to take in my skates to go get the plates put on. And I'm so excited because no more bouncy, squiggly plates that keep me from going faster. But yeah, I'm gonna go drop those off at the shop today, and then, I don't know, I'm so disoriented, I'm so lost at what I need to do today, but I'll get back to you on that. So, I went to the skate shop to drop off my roller skates so I can put my brand new Avanti magnesium plates on them, and I'm so excited for when they're ready. They'll be ready on Tuesday, and I took them to my local skate shop, Valley Surf and Skate. Honestly, I've lived in the Valley for years, and like I've never like had an interest in skating enough to like venture to these local skate shops, but honestly I feel so lucky to live near the skate shop because the owner is like the coolest guy ever. He's super conversational, like he's the nicest, most knowledgeable person about anything related to skating, even roller skating. Like we went to go buy a cruiser for my boyfriend, and he literally like kick-flipped that thing to the ground and was like, here, try it out. And I'm like, oh, this guy's like a freaking genius. But if you're in the San Fernando Valley, definitely check out that skate shop because it is a hidden gem in this little town. I honestly don't really like kombucha that much, but at least this one's lemonade flavor, so it's not as bad. I just try not to think about it. My mom got really into kombucha lately, and she's now downstairs watching a bunch of YouTube videos on how to make kombucha. So we have like a gazillion of these bottles downstairs, and my mom's trying to brew her own booch. So that'll be fun. Where am I in my life? I don't know. I've been having a long, hard think lately, and I think I'm just gonna overlay on this video some character drawings that I did like a couple months ago, trying to update my portfolio. So I had mentioned before that I was working on my portfolio for character design, and I'm retouching a project that I did while I was at Art Center called Excalibur, and it's about basically the King Arthur story, but told from the perspective of Guinevere, the princess, what have you. And I set it in, at first, post-war 1960s London, England, ambiguously, during the age of rockers and mods. So it's about rockers versus mods, but King Arthur, but Gwen. I could go more into depth about like what the story was about, but basically it's King Arthur's story but with motorcycles. And so a big critique that I got from like my color and story teacher was that post-war London was very you know, post-war, and not a lot of color happening there. This was for like a color class, which is where this project was born. So I had to be creative, and I thought, why not just set this in like, I don't know, rock and roll USA kind of a deal. So, but I don't know. Anyway, that's like the long, ambiguous story behind this project. And so what I'm working on right now, or in this recording, was I had forgotten to record everything else as far as like sketching and drawing this out, but I'm just kind of finishing a turnaround for the main character, Gwen. and just kind of laying down some flat color for this kind of orthographic model sheet for Gwen. So this is what I basically studied at school, just laying down the technical aspects of character drawing, so like front view, side view, three-quarter view, back view, all on a line orthographically, and how it would be suitable for animation or any other like storytelling devices. Like, how do they look in whatever direction they're facing when you're making them act in a scene, basically. I had fun drawing this one, but when I started thinking about having to do the other characters, I immediately lost interest in wanting to finish this project because, damn, this is such a technical drawing, and while I love to draw, sometimes the technical drawings really suck the fun out of it, and even though this is just for my own portfolio, I kind of just like fell out of love with this project, and I kind of just stopped pursuing it. And I feel really bad because like I spent basically my entire career at school learning how to do this and in hopes to get a job in a studio. And while I don't think it's impossible for me to find a job at any small studio within California, like, I don't know if that's what I really want to do. And this is where my brain starts going into this, I wouldn't say controversial, but kind of like, not midlife crisis because I'm only 26, but kind of like, you know, figuring out your identity as an artist in the world. You're gonna hear a lot of other artists talk about this, their journey to get to where they got to now. And I feel like I'm in this point in my life where it's that really like climactic part of the story where it's like, you know, they have this great idea, or they want to take this big risk, or they need to make a choice. And I feel like I'm at that point in my story where I'm at a crossroads and I need to pick between continuing on and pursuing that studio job, or taking this opportune moment to build myself as a independent artist and kind of do whatever it is that I want to do as an artist, basically. And while talking to my boyfriend, some close friends of mine, a lot of the advice and directions kind of pointed to this side of the crossroad, which is pursue what you want to do. Because ultimately, when I think about it, it's not like I'm completely giving up on a studio life. I mean, I've been working in a studio, not an animation or entertainment studio per se, but I've been working in like a studio environment in a fashion textile setting for like the last on and off 4 or 5 years. So a little bit about that journey. I had been working at a fashion textile studio as various positions. Like, I wore many hats at that studio because it was really small and my supervisor was my auntie, so, you know, it was work, but it just felt like nothing super official because it was through family, but at the same time, you know, of course I had to work. I can't fool around, obviously. But anyway, so I started working at a fashion textile company shortly after graduating high school, because I was going to community college at the time, and I didn't go to university right away because it was too expensive. So I was going to community college part-time because I was lagging on like declaring a school to go to. So like my backup schools that like I applied to after high school, you know, I waited too long to declare intent to attending the college. So when I realized that I couldn't go to Art Center right away from high school, I was really upset, and I was like, well, here are all the backup schools that I got into, and upon contacting them, they're like, well, sorry, like, we accepted you, but you took too long to answer, so we can't accept you anymore. So at that point, it was just kind of like, well, like, my backup school ended up not being my backup school anymore, and I ended up having to go to community college. And honestly, it was a blessing in disguise, because community college kind of opened a lot of doors for me. It gave me an opportunity to really kind of grow up and like get out all of the pent up like angsty teenager phase where I can like be rebellious and do whatever I want and like f around, and just you know, still kind of figure myself out. So upon, talk about big tangent, upon you know, graduating high school and going into community college part-time, because I couldn't register for classes, I literally signed up for like community college like last minute because I needed to go somewhere. I was only taking like 2 classes, and then my auntie offered me a position at the company that she was working at, because there was really only like 4 employees there, and she was the only designer, and then she asked me if I could like help her basically. And you know, I'm like 18, 19 years old, I don't know what I'm doing. I know how to use Photoshop, but that was about it. So I worked there kind of like as an assistant, helping cleaning designs and preparing them for printing and coloring, which is like, you know, kind of just stuff I learned on the job. Nobody taught me like outside of school, obviously, because I was only like 18 and I wasn't really going to school for this, but that's what I was doing. So I stayed at that company kind of like for a really long time, and at a certain point, like, you know, I was working there full-time, going to school part-time, and then around that, like maybe a couple years later, I decided I needed to focus on school. Like, I'm really serious about going or getting back into art center or like any like higher university, to transfer out of community college and like really like focus. So then I took on a lot of odd jobs. After that, like, I worked at various restaurants. Why am I talking about this? This sounds like a really long tangent. What was my point? Oh yeah, studio jobs. So, you know, after graduating from art center, and I had worked on and off at that fashion textile studio throughout my college career. I realized, damn, I can't do a 9-to-5 grind, because while it's really great that it forces me to wake up in the morning and have like a proper sleeping schedule, I commute everywhere in Los Angeles. Like, I live in like, you know, the valley, the suburbs, like really far away from the city. And while going to art center and while going to work all the way in downtown, I would commute everywhere. So I have got like a gazillion miles on my car. And so driving kind of just became this thing that I hated. I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with driving. Like, sometimes like you just need to have those long drives, but driving seems to be like, or like commuting seems to be like my biggest dislike for working in a studio. And I thought, well, maybe if I just lived closer, or maybe if, you know, driving wasn't such like a pain in the butthole. I realized the amount of work that I was putting in at school to get this studio job was unhealthy, and I, you know, worked really, really, really hard in school. And I worked, I think my peak was like our 3rd semester of school full-time, while working 3 part-time jobs and sleeping in the parking lot, like in between shifts and classes, because like I didn't want to drive all the way home, because I always commute like 45 minutes to whatever destination, because I live really far. And it was just not a healthy lifestyle, and I got really sick and you know, it really like drained my body. But by the time I graduated, it was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to work that hard again, because it really sucked. So yeah, I'm back at that studio now, again, after graduating, while trying to look for this, you know, animation job, and I don't know if it's for me yet. Like, I thought, you know, like I said before, I thought I hated my studio job because of the driving, but now that I'm going back to work and there's virtually no traffic because of the pandemic, and we just started going back to the office like a couple weeks ago, I don't think it's the driving that I don't like. I think it's just the monotony of going to an office from 9 to 5 and then only having like maybe 3 hours like after work to like do whatever it is that I wanted to do. And for me as a creative, like, I really want to like work on my own personal things, you know, make stickers because it's really fun, and I find enjoyment in like, you know, making these videos, making like stickers and tangible things that I like for myself and like to share with others, and eventually branch out into like prints and stuff like that. Like, I realized that's like stuff that I really love, and I think I always had a love for that while I was in school, and I knew that I was struggling to really figure out, like, as graduation was approaching at school, that I don't know if it's like this technical concept designy, character designy like drawing that I love doing, because I actually really hated like perspective drawing and really technical aspects of like just designing in general. And like, maybe that's like, I don't know, I felt like I was chasing this childhood dream of like wanting to be this animator at Disney, because like that's the dream, the goal, right? Like everyone and their mom wants to be an animator at Disney like back in the day, or like, you know, work for the mouse, right? Like, that's the dream, that's the goal, right? Like, move to California, move to Los Angeles, and you want to work at the major motion picture studios in Burbank. And honestly, while, you know, I visited those studios before, and like I see like the kind of work that, you know, the employees do, and it's like, I don't know if I got excited about it or not, but it was just like, is that what I really want to do? Like, work on a project for 3 years or more, and like it might not even like get published or like made into a movie, or the project gets shelved and, you know, you're bumped from department to department. I don't know, like, you know, you learn about the politics of a motion picture studio so much in design school that it's kind of like, it kind of reveals, you know, the nitty gritty parts of working in a major studio that isn't just, you know, all of the stuff that's like glittery and glamoury about, you know, making a movie. Like, you know, you hear about a lot of the drama, the shady parts of animation. You know, there's that whole John Lasseter thing that was going on, and also just like what hiring is like, and, you know, studios taking advantage of, you know, young designers. And I feel like maybe it's not for me quite yet, just because I realize now, after kind of getting a taste from school what it's like to work in a production team, like, it's not fun. That's a lie. I had fun, but at what cost? Like, my sanity, my health. Like, I loved working with the people that I worked with at school, but it's like, you know, you don't get that lucky when you work at a studio, because you could be stuck with somebody that you don't jive with, and like you're stuck with them for the entire project, and damn, that would really suck. And, you know, my department chair had a talk with me because I had, you know, kind of like an existential crisis as to like what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. And I told him that I don't know if it's like I'm falling out of love with animation, but I definitely know that I love making things. I love tangible things. Like I love like creating with my hands, and I love like being really physical with like my artwork. And you know, I told him like I don't know if like I'm in the right place. Like I love animation, and I thought maybe entertainment design was that for me, but maybe I made a mistake. Like maybe I should have gone into product design, or like maybe I should have like, I don't know, switched over to like more of a tangible side of concept design with an entertainment design. I don't know, like I was really lost. And like you know, my director and my department chair kind of like pointed to me like, well, maybe stop motion animation is something that you would really love, because you know, you have a love and a passion for storytelling and animation, but you also have a love for making things, so why not combine the two? And for a moment, like, I thought stop motion was the answer, and like, I kind of went really hard on stop motion for like maybe a semester, and I thought, this is it, I figured it out, like, making shit and like animating and still, you know, being within my degree, right? And upon, you know, having an internship at a stop motion studio, unpaid, and kind of working on like my own stop motion things, I realized, I don't know if this is it. Am I just putting all my eggs in a basket and hoping this is the answer? Because that's kind of what happened, and I realized it wasn't the answer. Don't get me wrong, I loved working at a stop motion studio. I loved working as a fabrication intern. I loved building and making the things that I was doing for the director that I was working for, and I loved just fabricating, like making the puppets, like making, you know, like I love sculpting and just creating like something that can basically be brought to life, right? And I was kind of okay at it, and I thought maybe there's a career here. And you know, upon working at a mild portfolio for stop motion, and a teacher kind of shined a light on, like, you know, there's like this whole world of stop motion. Like you can have a portfolio of just hair and go into the hair department, and it's just like, damn, that's like a whole specific thing. Or like costume, they're always hiring for costume, and it's just like, I don't know. And then like I hear like other things like, yeah, like you want to work at a place like Leica? Like I heard about this one guy that was only sanding hardware for 4 years, and that's all he did. And it's like, I don't know. That sounds fun to me. And also, I don't want to move out of California yet. Like, maybe one day. I don't know. But anyway, I realized that just kind of shoving all of my worries about what I wanted to do into stop motion, thinking that, like, alright, well, these are two things that I like. Maybe if I combine it, like, problem solved. I realized that's not what it was that I wanted to do either. And maybe, you know, it just starts to kind of sound like I'm a picky, indecisive, young and naive, like, artist, and I am, like I'm not gonna deny that, but at the same time, you know, I feel like I'm glad that I tried all of the things that I did, because it kind of guaranteed me that you don't like this, or like you've tried it, you liked it kind of, but like not enough to like pursue like a whole career with it. And I think it's okay to like try things to see if you like it, and like not sit with the regret for not trying. So in that same vein, I feel like I think I really want to try becoming an independent artist and start my own business. Wow. Starting my own business as what? As, you know, as me, right? Just as like a freelancer, as an independent artist, as Megan, or in this case, megguran. I sound like a crazy person, but I feel like, especially right now in this day and age where there's a whole pandemic, the air outside is basically toxic because everyone's breathing it, and working at a studio right now is not kind of a viable choice, only because a lot of work right now is remote. I don't trust myself to work remotely because I have a bad track record of trying to work at home. So that's kind of like not an option for me. I feel like I won't be able to work as diligently as I would if I were able to work in-house. So especially right now with the uncertainty of like what office culture is gonna be like, I feel like now is a really good time for me to kind of like maybe take this gap year, or this forced gap year, so to say, and just work on myself as an independent artist and see where that can take me. And I'm really excited for this journey, and while it might not be the most popular opinion for most like freshly graduated students, this is something that I really want to do right now, because the idea of working for someone else's project, which is what I've been doing like all throughout school really, with like the small like independent projects that I've done, I kind of want to figure myself out and like who I am and what I can offer as an artist, because right now all of my training has been learning how to work for someone else and bring their ideas to life, and you know, work within a production team. And not to say that there aren't any creative liberties for certain studio workers. I just feel like for myself and knowing who I am, I feel like that I really love making, selling, and talking to people. Like working various customer service jobs, I've learned that like I love interacting with people. I love selling. I don't think that's right, but I love selling like my own merchandise. Like I've tabled a couple of times like at a few events for fun, and I really enjoyed it. I love the aspect of like having an inventory and like selling it. Like I love office supplies. Like I've had a weird obsession with office supplies since I was a kid, and I feel like I really thrive when I'm making like fun little accessories. Like when I was making my enamel pins, or when I was making like my Animal Crossing stickers or anything like that, like I was like so into it. I was like super serious about it. I researched the crap out of it. Like I looked at various like manufacturers, printers, suppliers, and like I realized like what I love doing is going to conventions and like wanting to sell, because I've been going to conventions since I was like 13, 14 years old. And when I learned about what Artist Alley was, every year I was like, maybe next year I'll do it, like maybe next year I'll do it. And like I've only ever really done it once, and not at the con of my choice, but I really loved that. And I loved the idea of like having your own little business, and like my dream is to like have my own little studio doing whatever it is that I love doing as an artist. And there are a couple of Korean artists and illustrators that I follow on Instagram, and they have like recently opened their own studio, and it's like so cute, and like I think that's like what I'm really attracted to. And it kind of fell under the same veil as like animation, just cause like they're cute characters that you could draw. And I thought maybe my dream was to work in a studio, and like maybe it still is like later on down the line, maybe when I want to settle down and have like a stable job. But I think I really want to take this risk because I don't have a lot at stake right now, and really build myself as an independent artist and start thinking about what I can offer as megguran. I feel really shy and insecure about this, but I really want to be serious about myself and kind of really focus on what it means to be an artist for myself, and not just like worry about a studio job that I feel like I need to get because that's what's expected of me. But yeah, that's like a huge long-winded like explanation. The TLDR is I want to start my own business as an independent artist, like I've said like a gazillion times. Gosh, Megan, shut up. So here I am. Hi. I don't know where to start. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I know for a fact that I need to draw a lot more and be really serious about this, and I can't like potato and be asleep for like 12-14 hours a day and be sad about not going anywhere, because you can only get somewhere if you actually try, right? And that's what I haven't been doing. Trying. To be fair though, I was sick for a month, and like it's a global pandemic and a huge civil rights movement, so you know you can only really do so much, and it's also summertime and it's really hot. But yeah, I guess that's really all I had on my mind to really say. And like I said, like I've talked about this like over and over with like trusted friends and classmates, and I feel like this is what I really want to do. And I want to, I guess, also use this YouTube platform because it's so like malleable and you can use it for anything really, and kind of document like how far I've gotten and the progress that I'm making as an independent artist, and maybe help other people that are as clueless as I am about where to go with this. And yeah, just kind of share my life along with you guys, whoever's watching, my 6 followers, like my same 6 friends that are watching. Hey, we'll play League of Legends later tonight. Oh god. But yeah, have a great holiday weekend. I'm gonna keep drinking my kombucha and keep drawing some more. Oh god. Like, let me know if I talk too much, because I kind of like talk in circles and sometimes like I forget a point. But if you have any questions, or if I was talking about a story and like I kind of stopped talking about it, let me know in the comments below. And I'll be happy to answer any questions, because that's what I love doing. Been working as like a ambassador for a school for many years, so questions are no stranger to me. But yeah, be sure to you know, follow along where I am in my life. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. That's pretty much it. Bye.